Hugo Lacerda managed to get away from the lighthouse aboard the Maria Narcissa before you could get to him. Board the ship, locate him, and make sure that he is never able to communicate what he may have learned from Morgenholt.
The body of kidnapped American computer engineer Bruce Morgenholt was discovered in a village in Peru this morning. Implicated in the kidnapping and failed ransom attempt is Hugo Lacerda, alleged leader of the People's Voice, a newly formed guerrilla organization. Here we see the USS Clarence E. Walsh en route to the Yellow Sea for her first assignment amid rising tensions in the region. Dubbed the flagship of a 21st century fleet by Defense Secretary Mason, who reaffirmed America's commitment to our Japanese allies.
It is our hope that the presence of the Walsh, now the world's premier electronic and information warfare platform, will help diffuse the tensions in the region.
Information you recovered in Peru makes it look like Hugo Lacerda was contracted by a third party to kidnap and interrogate Morgenholt. His payment was in weapons. He appears to be using those arms to equip his own men and pay off debts to other guerrilla groups. Maybe Lacerda is a nickel-ante loser, but maybe he's learned some things from Morgenholt that we don't want anyone to know. The Maria Narcissa is out to sea, so there's no escape. Board her, search her, find out who Lacerda's been dealing with, and then make sure he doesn't have an opportunity to spread what he knows. Fifth, freedom.
What Morgenholt knew about the mass kernels, recursive computation, and weaponized algorithms is akin to what Oppenheimer knew about atoms or what Turing knew about digital computers. Project Watson, the United Nations investigation into the mass kernels, will be remembered for centuries alongside the Manhattan Project as fundamental research that changed the nature of warfare forever. Imagine if Che Guevara had kidnapped and interrogated Oppenheimer in 1959, and you have a pretty accurate parallel of the situation we're in right now.
We're going to send the helicopter out about 40 clicks ahead of the Maria Narcissa and leave you in the water on her course. You'll board covertly onto the bow. Search the ship and the holds. Find out what you can about the arms shipments and who Lacerda is dealing with. Satellite imaging shows the Maria Narcissa racks a small launch on the stern. That will be your primary extraction. If things go badly, we might be able to arrange to pluck you out of the sea.
We'll keep the Walsh inside a helicopter range of the target vessel at all times. If something goes wrong, we should be able to assist in extraction. If you play it safe, we'll recover you when the ship's launched from open water once you're out of visual range of the ship.
Fisher, we just pulled up Celestinia's last dry dock report for the Maria Narcissa. They have a newly installed central alarm system.
Don't tell me. 3 alarms and the mission is over?
Of course not. This is no video game, Fisher. But you don't want the whole place alerted to your presence. Keep it under control.
Hey everybody, it's Cotton here, and I am bringing you some more of Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. In the last video, we were at the lighthouse where we discovered Bruce Morgenholt's body, and in this video we are aboard the Maria Narcissa, where our main goal is to kill Hugo Lacerda. Now first, before we get started, over down that way there's nothing. There's actually a path that leads up into this path where I am now, but that's pretty much the only thing that's down there. But where we want to go is down this way. And so you can hear the guard. He's actually talking to the other guard that's over there. And so I guess I can drop down. But pretty much these guys are talking about Hugo Lacerda. And I should get on this other side so that this guy doesn't see me. But they were pretty much talking about how they think Hugo Lacerda is annoying, and they'd like to kill him themselves, but they don't want to because he has some very strong-looking bodyguards with him. So they don't want to touch him. But this guy came out here because he just wanted to get away from Hugo's... I don't know, just from Hugo. So... yeah, you know, if you listen in on them, that's kind of what they talk about, and that'll be a common theme throughout this whole level. A lot of people do not like Hugo Lacerda, so you're kind of doing them a favor by taking him out. Now, I guess this level is kind of difficult. If you remember in the previous Splinter Cell games, there were certain levels where I kind of had to just rely on luck and chance. This level is a lot like that. There are certain things that are just kind of very particular in the way that you do them and kind of rely on you, I don't know, almost getting lucky. Like, you know, I still tried to figure this out where, you know, like, the pathway could be repeatable, but even still, this was a pretty difficult level. And so you'll see this guy is sleeping, and you might be thinking, why can't I just go past them? Well, that's because if you open the door, it actually makes enough noise to wake him up, and he'll be able to see you. So what you want to do is put out these two lights. You can't actually shoot that out. That is an impenetrable light, so you can't actually shoot it. I wish you could, because it would make things a lot easier right here, but you can't do that. A new mechanic that I don't believe we've actually seen is that in the darkness, some of these guys will pull out flares. So it's not like an easy, you know, get rid of the light and then walk past somebody. Sometimes, you know, they might pull out a flare, so it will require a bit more than just, you know, just shooting out the light.
Fisher, it looks like Lacerda is spreading around his newfound wealth, paying off debts with some of the arms that were delivered to him.
You want me to scan any more weapons crates?
Better idea. Plant tracking devices on them, and we can see who they end up getting delivered to.
Okay.
So we now have a new opportunity objective, which is to plant tracking devices on those crates that were in the lighthouse level. So we can't actually scan them with the EEV because we're actually placing something on them physically. So we have to go up next to them and place the tracker.
Good job, Sam. That's the first crate. Keep your eyes peeled for any more.
Alright.
And so just like the ones from the last level, they do still show up on your EMF vision. So you could just put that on at random
Fisher,
times.
We just intercepted a radio call from the Maria Narcissa. She's reporting a hull leak and asking for an escort.
The ship is sinking.
No, but apparently several compartments are flooded. You'll need to activate the bilge in the forward machine room to access all the cargo holds.
So, as he said, there are certain parts of the ship that are leaking water. This is one of them. It's a room we need to go into, but we can't.
Fisher, those compartments are flooded. You need to activate the emergency bilge pump to drain them.
So, it's, you know, we kind of have to do a little workaround for, you know, one of our objectives, but it's not really a big deal. Now, right here, there is a vent right there that we can go through, but this guy is sawing something. It's very noisy, but he only has a single light above him. So, we can just put that out, jump up onto the table, come over here to the corner, and then enter the crawl space. And that gives us plenty of time to slip by before the light comes back on.
There should be a large pump in here that you can use to drain the forward cargo hold.
I'll find it.
So he's talking about the room that's directly below us. We'll get there once we're out of these vents. But at the beginning, I'm hoping that one guy didn't see us. I was in a bit of light, and he said, like, come out. So I'm hoping he didn't see me. Like, there's no alarm pulled, no guns fired. So hopefully he didn't.
You gonna start that pump there or what? I don't know how this stupid thing works. Captain Diego says hurry up or we'll sink. Well, if I do it wrong, we might sink faster. Then don't do it wrong. Easy for you to say.
Okay, and like I said in the previous video, some of those odd cuts will be where I'm saving. So that's what that is. Don't worry about it too much.
Better have a look around.
And right there is the first instance of me using the whistle. So I whistled over there, that guy will look, and then I'll drain the pumps.
Good job. That'll drain the flooded compartments. Now you can search for the bill of lading attached to Lacerda's shipments.
Alright.
Okay, and the other guy actually didn't come down. Shoot, I missed. I missed. I just noticed I was in a lot of light and I kind of panicked a little bit, but we need to go through a door that's right there, and I need to do that with the lights out first.
What's wrong with this thing now?
And there is a light on the other side, so I'm hoping, like, nobody should be able to see me.
That time I'm sure I see something. Be on your guard. Something's up.
Okay, so I don't think they actually saw me, so there's nothing to worry about. But we need to retrieve the bill of lading, and that is actually in this room.
I'm betting that Lacerda's shipping container is somewhere in this compartment. The bill of lading should be mounted on the side.
I'll have a look around.
And this is actually the room that was just flooded that we were in before we saw the saw guy. But now that we drained the pumps, we can actually come in here, and the bill of lading is right here.
Good work, Sam. It looks like whoever delivered these arms to Lacerda was operating through a proxy.
Who?
Mercantil Costa Fuerza Seguridad de Panama.
Offshore bankers?
Yeah, the cigar-chomping kind.
Great. I love bureaucrats.
You still need to recover the transit ledger so we can figure out who else Lacerda is dealing with. Try the ship's office. They should have that information.
And just to be safe, I took that light out. And there's a couple of guys that will come down this hallway, but there's another little passage down here that you can go through. So you can completely avoid them, you are in darkness, and you don't need to worry about them. So there's these two guys, and they should just walk right past you, and so you can just keep moving forward.
Tell me you found the library.
Somewhere on the top deck, on the side, there's a powered launch on the stern.
Think there is enough for everyone?
Sensors in your suit are detecting a lot of fumes down there.
Yeah, I can smell it. Some kind of gas leak.
Could be enough to be a serious explosive hazard. We can't have any firing in the engine room.
Wonderful.
And don't expect the enemy to be smart enough to realize that. They might still open fire on you if they see you.
I get the message. I'll be discreet.
So it's just like Sam said, or Grim said. There is a gas leak, so you cannot fire your weapons, nor can the enemies fire their weapons, and that includes attachments to your SC-20K. Nothing can be fired or else this place will blow up. So I know that's a little difficult to hear, but I thought I'd at least try to show it anyway because it's kind of funny because those guys are like, hey, did you just fart? And no, I thought it was you, but yeah, you know. So they kind of smell it as well. And right here you might be thinking, like if you've played the game before, you might think this might be a tricky area to get past. And I thought as well, I thought this was going to give me a little bit of trouble before I started this level, but it actually turns out to not be entirely too bad. So all you need to do is put out that light, and as soon as I can turn around, I just will jump up on this, and by the time you get to here, you will be in darkness, so you don't have to worry about the light coming back on. This guy kind of walks around a bit, but like I said, you're in darkness, so you don't need to worry about anything. And as soon as he continues on, you can just jump right over and head to the area above you. And you'll remember that the second guy came up here, and there's a bit of light up here, so you might want to move kind of quickly, but once he gets about to that point, he's going to turn and look, and then that's a good opportunity for you to go past and through the doorway that you're supposed to go through. Right through here. No problem whatsoever. And once you're through here, you're pretty much clear from these guys. Now, once you get to here, you want to be careful because there is a guy that patrols that area. Now, you might be thinking you can stand up close to the door because nobody could possibly see through them, but for some reason, he actually can. I don't know how, I don't know why, but if he sees you, it can kind of screw up this whole next section, so make sure that he doesn't see you, or at least thinks he sees something, you know, where they're like in their, you know, investigating phase. You want to make sure that he doesn't see you. One thing I want to mention is that if you could have seen right there that you can actually see through those doorways, kind of like how you could see through the tents on the previous level. So when you're using the thermal vision, you can actually look through those doors and see what's on the other side of them. And so this guy, this is pretty much his path. He goes all the way down through those bunk bed areas. He stops here, and then he goes down to the other side. And once he starts going to the other side, that's when you want to make your way through here, because all the way down here is another crate that you can use. So I'm going to go down there and take a look at it. So like I said, this is the area where everybody sleeps, and since I don't want this guy knowing I've been here, I'm going to close all the doors that I've opened, and I'm going to go through here and then close the door once I get past it and scan the crate, and then I'm going to wait for this guy to actually come through here. Because I don't actually have enough time to come in here and go back before that guy comes back around. So I just need to wait here until he actually makes his rounds again. Okay, and so like I said, he can see through these doorways, but I guess he can only see through the doorway outside and not actually this one, because as you can see, I'm actually lit up pretty well, but he didn't notice me. So I don't know, it must be a bug or something, but for some reason he can't see through this door, but he can see through that first door that we had to open up, and I have no idea why. It's kind of odd, but as soon as he gets out back there, things are clear for me to go forward. I'll close all the doors that I go through because I don't want to raise any type of suspicion. But pretty much by the time he goes through this door, you're pretty much clear to go through yourself. I'll close it just to be extra careful. And head through. And so that's where he goes on the other side. I'll just wait for him to make his way back over here. And once he does that, he'll go through the sleeping area, and that's when we can make our way upstairs. Just the deafening silence. I noticed how there's no music at this point, but this level actually has some really awesome music. It's like the music for this level specifically. And to be perfectly honest, I consider that music to be like the theme music for Splinter Cell. I actually plan on ending the video pretty soon here, so I might get into that a little bit more in the next video, but
Sam, you're near the ship's office. This deck, starboard side.
I'll find the transit ledgers there.
That's where they should be keeping them.
But like I said, I'm going to end the video off here, so in the next video, we are going to continue on through the ship, and we are going to find Hugo Lacerda's whereabouts. I'll see you then.